Ladies and gentlemen. I'm James, and welcome back to Storytime with James. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave me a comment if you like. All right, this one's called Pat. I Wonder. Yes, this is a story about this guy named Pat that I met, and he used to frequent my job down at my job where we had computers in there. They can get on computers and use the computers and stuff like that. Yeah, Pat was a strange individual though. Okay, because because of uh, he had dreams of building a race car, a race car, and he used to buy little parts for this car, but he had no mechanical skills, none whatsoever. So I don't know what he was thinking of, you know. And he was strange again because he could go either way. Yeah, he could be male or female. Okay, personally, I thought he was a male, you know, because he used to talk about girls to me. He used to say talk about all the girls he met and stuff like that. But to a lot of people there, it was 50-50. He could either be male or female. So I don't know. I swear I don't know. So one day, Pat was at the. He came and sat at the computer. Start. He was working on the computer, playing a game or something like that. And then this dude walked in, and he made a beeline straight for Pat. Yes, and he sat down next to him and started talking to him. And Pat was just ignoring him, just kept typing on his computer and stuff. Then suddenly the guy reached over and rubbed his thigh. Yes. So, and Pat said, "Stop!" And and I looked over there, and they didn't look back at me. But I that was a clue for me to get over there and separate them. So I went over there. And I put my hand on the dude's shoulder. I said, "Dude, you got to get up." He said, "What did I do?" I said, "You just got to get up.
Ain't nobody doing
Either go to
nothing.
another computer or get out." So he went to another computer, and Pat was sitting there with tears in his eyes, like he was getting ready to cry and stuff. So I said, "You okay, man?" He said, "Yeah, I'm okay." And he had a sort of high voice, like a woman. He said, "I'm okay." I said, "You want me to call the police?" And he said, "Yeah." So I went and called the police. And when I called the police, I went back over there, and the dude was trying to leave the building. So I said, "Hey, sit down, sit down, sit down." He said, "Man, I ain't doing nothing. I ain't doing nothing." I said, "Sit down, sit down. It's okay. It'll be okay. Sit down. Sit your butt down." Shortly after that, the police arrived, and they separated them. They took Pat in one room and took the guy in another room. So then they called me over. They said, "James, come here, come here, come here." So I walked over there, and the sergeant said, "Okay, James, what are we looking at here? What are we looking at here?" And I said, "A boy?" He said, "It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell." Yes, yes. He said it's hard to tell. You know. So after that, after they talked to both of them, then they ended up arresting the guy because he had SA many people. Matter of fact, that he was on the SA, you know, on a what you call it? Uh, no, not SA, but I forget what you call it. But they had him on the yeah, SO offenders, S offenders list. Okay, so he was gone to jail, and Pat was kind of happy that he was gone, but nobody knows what caused this guy to make a beeline straight for him and try to touch him.
You need to leave me alone.
So,
Shoot.
so then later after that, Pat ended up getting kicked out of his house. And they moved all his stuff out of the house. So Pat came back down there and got on the computer again. And he said, "Man, I'm trying to find a job, but I can't find one." I said, "Well, I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to tell you. But I gave him some jobs, had wrote down some jobs that he can call to try to get in there, but he said they won't accept him. So I didn't know what to say. So Pat said that I don't care because I'm going over the road. So I said, "Oh, you gonna drive trucks?" He said, "No, this guy drives a truck." And he was gonna ride with him. So I said, "Where are you gonna live?" He said, I live in a truck. Trucks have sleeper berths back in the back, so." And I said, that seems kind of strange to me, you know. Seems kind of strange. I don't know what happened to Pat. I don't know what happened to him. But maybe he's in a convoy. Convoy. And we got a great big convoy crashing through the night. Yes. Convoy. Yeah, man. But I think I heard from him. I think I heard from him a while ago. But I'm talking about this has been years ago. So I don't know. And I don't know what he was actually. You know, that puzzles me. But hey, who's to say? But I thought he was a dude. So yep. But you can't discriminate on people because of what they are. If they're like that, then hey, you know, it wasn't like he was a close friend of mine or nothing like that. So, but I don't know, man. But treat everybody with dignity and respect, okay? Treat everybody, no matter what they are, you know. And if everybody was like that, this world would be a better place. All right, y'all. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave me a comment if you like. And hit that bell notification. Hit that bell notification so that you know every time I drop another video. And share. Share my videos with your family. Share my videos with your friends. Share them with your loved ones. And even share them with your enemies. Peace. Adios. Salamat.